5 students, 3 crime scenes, 1 town frozen in fear. Everyone thought they caught the killer until the blood didn't match. But the killing started long before the first bodies were found. "12 hours before Christine and Sonia were found, 18-year-old Krista Hoyt failed to show up for her night shift at the sheriff's office. She didn't call, and no one could reach her. Krista was known for never missing work, not even after getting her wisdom teeth removed. By early Sunday morning, officers were sent to her apartment for a welfare check. They knocked. No answer. The front door was locked. One officer went around back and spotted a small gap under the curtain of her sliding glass door. He lay down, aimed his flashlight through the gap, and froze. Krista was sitting on the edge of her bed, naked, hunched forward, with stab wounds on her back. But the most disturbing detail: her head had been removed and placed on a shelf, positioned to look down at her body. When forensics arrived, they found pry marks on the sliding door and duct tape residue on her wrists, just like the previous scene. She had been sexually assaulted, and the killer had taken the tape with them. Police now believed the same person had killed Krista, Christine, and Sonia. All 3 lived within a 2-mile radius. All were college students. All were targeted in their homes, and all had been posed after death. None of these gruesome details were public yet, but that night, Sunday evening, police issued a warning to Gainesville residents. Stay inside, travel in groups, and be vigilant. By Monday morning, fear had consumed the city. Stores were cleaned out of locks, mace, bats, and guns. Students packed their bags and left town. Helicopters circled overhead. Police were stationed on every street corner. Gainesville was on high alert. But it didn't stop the killer. That same day, 23-year-old Tracy Paulus, a student at the University of Florida, failed to call her friend Lisa back. Lisa had checked in earlier, and Tracy said she wasn't too worried. Her roommate, Manny Tabota, a strong former football player, was with her. She felt safe. But by the next morning, Tuesday, Lisa still hadn't heard back. Worried, she asked a mutual friend named Tommy, who lived nearby, to check on them. Moments later, Lisa got a call from Tracy's landline. But it wasn't Tracy. It was Tommy, screaming. Police arrived quickly. Inside the apartment, they found Tracy in her bedroom, naked, stabbed, sexually assaulted, and posed in the same lewd way as the others. Down the hall, they found Manny. He was still clothed and hadn't been posed, but he had been stabbed to death in his bed. Again, the back sliding door had been pried open. And again, duct tape residue was found on Tracy's wrists, but the tape was missing. At this point, the police were certain. A serial killer was on the loose, and nobody was safe. Even Manny, a strong male victim, had been overpowered. The killer wasn't just targeting women. He was targeting students, and he was unstoppable. That same Tuesday, national attention exploded. The FBI joined the investigation. The National Guard was called in. Streets were flooded with law enforcement, and helicopters hovered above Gainesville. But fear remained, because there had still been no arrest. But that changed the next day. Police arrested 19-year-old Ed Humphreys, a freshman at the University of Florida. He was charged with domestic abuse for hitting his grandmother, but his bail was set at $1 million. It was clear. Police suspected Ed of being the killer. He had a violent history, was known to hate women, and often wandered the woods near the crime scenes. He carried a knife, looked unstable, and even smiled for the cameras in court. Most compelling of all, the murder stopped after Ed's arrest. Everyone believed they had their man. But then came the forensic test results. The killer's blood type found at the scenes was type B. Ed Humphreys, type A. After Ed Humphreys was ruled out due to a blood type mismatch, fear returned to Gainesville. The killer was still at large. The FBI recommended using the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, VCAP, a system that compared violent crimes across the country. Gainesville police entered the case data and received one match, a 1989 triple homicide in Shreveport, Louisiana. On November 3, 1989, 8-year-old Sean Grissom was visiting his grandfather, Tom Grissom. Also living in the home was Julie Grissom, Sean's 24-year-old aunt. By Monday morning, none of them could be reached. Police entered the home and found all three had been stabbed to death. Julie had been sexually assaulted and posed. Vinegar had been used to clean her body. The killer left no signs of forced entry or robbery. The similarities to Gainesville were undeniable. Sexual assault, body posing, vinegar cleaning, and the killer's blood type, B, matched. Shortly after the case details leaked to the media, a woman named Cindy from Shreveport contacted police. She identified Danny Rolling, a 37-year-old drifter, as a possible suspect. He had once confessed to enjoying stabbing people. After the Grissom murders, he told Cindy's husband he planned to leave town for a place with young women. She was sure he was capable of murder. Danny Rolling had a history of violence. His father abused him. He was discharged from the Air Force for instability and served time for armed robbery. In 1989, he returned to Shreveport and lived near the Grissoms. 6 months later, he shot his father and fled. During the student murders, a Gainesville bank was robbed. Police later found a nearby abandoned campsite with booby-trapped money, a gun, a screwdriver, and an audio recorder. The recorder was never checked. Months later, police played the tape. It featured a man singing and talking about killing, and he named himself Danny Rolling. The screwdriver matched markings on victims' doors. His blood type was B. He was already in custody for another robbery. Danny was charged with 5 murders. 4 years later, at his trial, he pleaded guilty. He claimed he wanted fame like Ted Bundy. He also confessed to the Shreveport murders. Danny Rolling described the murders in detail. In 1989, after losing his job, he entered the Grissom home, killed Sean and Tom, sexually assaulted and murdered Julie, and then cleaned and posed her body. In Gainesville, he set up camp behind the university. On August 24, 1990, he broke into Sonia Larson and Christina Powell's apartment, killed Sonia first, and then sexually assaulted and murdered Christina. He cleaned and posed both bodies. 8 hours later, he attacked Krista Hoyt. He waited in her closet, assaulted and murdered her, cleaned her body and posed it. He returned to decapitate her and arranged her head to face the body. On August 27th, he killed Manny Tabawada and Tracy Paulus. Manny fought back but was overpowered. Tracy locked herself in her room, but Danny broke in. She asked, "Are you the one?" He said yes. He then assaulted and murdered her, posed the body and left. Danny was arrested for an unrelated robbery. Evidence connected him to all 5 murders. He confessed, stating his desire for infamy. Danny spent 12 years on death row. He showed no remorse. On October 25, 2006, he was executed by lethal injection. He said nothing to the victims' families, only sang a religious hymn before his death.